Okay, so we had our 5 second pause. 5 second pause. Yeah, so there's a little wordplay for me. I love wordplay. For those that don't know, if you can come up to me and give me a good wordplay and make me laugh, I will forever be in your debt.
Write your wordplay in the comments below.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
love it.
So, anyways, that's a great way to be happy, be joyful. You know, in the Bible it does say our strength is the joy is our
The
joy.
joy of the Lord is our strength.
Exactly.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about relationships.
Yes.
And before we do that, what are we going to give them at the end? What are we going to tell them how to do?
Oh, we're going to give them some tips that we just learned ourselves about making even more awesome videos.
There you go. So stay tuned. Watch till the end. We'll divulge those to you at the end.
But first, you get some really cool relationship tips.
There we go. So the first one, we've had a couple of takes on this because we'll be quite transparent with you and say we started the video and this is our third time, but the video got stopped because the laptop started to go into fade mode where the screen was going to go black because of screensaver. Didn't know we had a live video going on, so...
And John, that's so sweet of you to cover for me. I just learned something new about it. Not to tap the little thing to make the mouse to make the screen get brighter again, because it stopped the video every time.
So this time we moved the mouse so that it's off on the desktop, so it doesn't matter if we tap it or move it, it's just fine.
But you just exercised love and you covered my sin right then.
There we go. If you want to call it a sin.
No, I really don't. It's not.
Okay, so first tip on the relationship front is communication.
Yes.
And communication is a huge thing that I would say over 90% of relationships are destroyed because of it. And so there's a course that I took back a few years ago called Stephen Covey's 7 Steps to Highly...
Habits?
If I can... Basically, it's the 7...
Habits of highly successful people?
There you go.
Well, after the other 2 takes, I had heard it a couple times, and so that helped sink it in.
Yeah,
so thank you for that.
So in that, it tells you that if you can... I'm trying to swallow this yawn. I've been up since 4 a.m. It is now 7 p.m.
Ooh.
But it's not going to stop me. So in the class, they go over 7 things, and one of those 7 things is truly effective communication is when you can repeat back to the person who just unloaded or just gave you some information. If you can repeat it back to them in your own words and they say, yes, that's what I'm talking about, then you're communicating at the most effective way.
Excellent. And so we've both used this when we've talked to each other.
Yes.
And it, like John said, it's really helped to divert arguments. Because if you both are saying something, you might be saying the very same thing, but you might think you're actually saying the opposite from the other person.
Right.
And that can get very frustrating. And then you argue about that, after that. So you don't want to do that. So use that form of communication. It's like I say something, he summarizes it in his own words, and then I say yes, or yes, that's what I meant, or no, this is what I meant instead. And there you go. That helps so much. Also, there were times, especially earlier on in our marriage, where sometimes I would feel like John should just know what I was thinking or what I need, and I wouldn't communicate it, and then I would feel kind of miffed at him until we talked about it later. So it's very important to communicate your feelings, your needs, your wants, and also to listen to the other person as they communicate those same things.
Right.
So that's another part of communication that's so important, because really the other person cannot read your mind. And they might think, I know, I wish you could sometimes.
Yeah.
And they might think, everything's hunky-dory and we're just tootling along through life, and the other person might be miserable, seething inside because, they're not mind readers. So make sure that you're communicating, really talking. And when you communicate, be nice to each other, be respectful to each other, even if you're talking about something that you both are on different sides of the issue about. And that really brings us to our next point, which is
Your turn.
oh, it's my turn. Respect. So communication and respect go hand in hand. You have to respect each other when you communicate.
Yes.
There's more to respect, though.
Well, respect really gives you a sense of being, because if, say, for instance, you are going to work, and at work you are respected, you're put amongst your peers, and they love you to death, and they make you feel like they couldn't survive without you. Well, and then end of the day comes, you go home, and either your husband or your wife just berates you and doesn't care one iota what you say, how you do it, where you're going, and you're just like, you're not respected at all. They literally just tear you apart with their words and their emotions and their actions. So if you're going to be having a relationship that's successful, you have to respect your partner. It's like if you're I'm sorry.
Sorry.
If you're going to be respected, you're going to have to be acting like one. It says in the Bible that two become one when you get married. And so you have to realize that you're going to be a unit, and that unit is always on the same page, or at least it should be if you're successful.
Right. You always want to project a united front to the outside world, so to speak. The outside world being your children, your family, your in-laws, anybody else.
Anybody outside of the two people that you are a couple.
The only person or being that should ever be in the middle between you two is God himself. No one else. And so respect has a huge part to play in that. As you were talking about respect and, being respected at work and then going home and being berated, who would want to go home to that? And I was thinking too, scariness, that's like huge recipe for disaster. That's like huge open door to the enemy. Can't you just see how the enemy would then be glad to bring, somebody respectful at work, to try to get in between you and your significant other? And
Exactly.
It's a recipe for an affair right there.
Yeah,
Just saying it.
Really it is, yeah.
So respect
Preach
is huge. So often, I think we've been taught in church or wherever else that, respect the man. He needs respect, and it's true. Men need respect to flourish, to thrive, to do well. But women also need respect.
Yes, that's so true.
And that's one thing I appreciate so much about John, because John, you respect me. I know that you respect my thoughts and my feelings and what I say, and you've helped me to flourish and to really be myself, because I don't have to be afraid of what he's going to think of me or afraid that he's going to put me down or whatever. He never does.
Right. And that's just part of communicating correctly and knowing that you want the best for your wife or husband. You always want to see them do well. You want to see them, you want to have an abundance mindset when it comes to your relationship. Now that leads right into trusting people, and that is the number 3 tip, is to trust people. Trust your husband or your wife.
True.
That they're going to do the right thing, that they're going to support you, they're not ever going to let you down, because you're on the same page. You sign the document, and the document says that you are now one.
Yes.
Because you now have the same last names. Last name.
If the lady changes or the man changes their last name,
Right.
but
Right, and there are some marriages out there that don't have the same last names, but a lot of them do.
we took the traditional approach, so
Yeah.
it works for us.
Okay, so anyways, you're still going to be wanting to trust each other, because if there's no trust, that's another recipe for disaster as well. You've got to trust, you've got to have respect, and you've got to be able to communicate to your spouse the things on your mind, because if you can't do that and there's no trust, that you're like, I know I came into this relationship thinking, well, just from my past, I was always berated. I was always, I always heard that. Jessica's never done that to me, and now I've gained more trust. I've been opening up to her more and more. And we've been married for 3 years, and I'm not all the way there yet, but I am really close to being there. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to have encouragement all the time and never have to worry about being berated or some negative thing being said to you, like, oh, you never do that, or you never do this. Instead, it's love. It's not hate.
Yeah, and if the two are truly one, I mean, why would you cut your own hand off by berating your person, And
Yeah.
it's true.
So those are your three tips for a great relationship. And like we said in the beginning, we were going to give you some tips on how to do some amazing videos. And
Here it is.
here they are. They're going to be short, not as long as what we just went through. We're just going to give you flat blank out. And maybe later on we'll do some more extensive stuff on these tips. But the first one that we learned is...
Well, first of all, do you remember who we were listening to?
Yes, we were listening to Erica Udan. I don't know how to say her last name. It's spelled Udeanu. Erica, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But
What you said was great, though. It helped us a lot.
Yes. And so what it really is saying is when you have, and I'll pull my phone out real quick. When you have somebody, you want to look at the camera, the little dot there. You want to look at the little dot here. You don't want to look at yourself like I'm doing right now. Now I'm looking at the top. So that's the first tip. The second thing is, when you're doing your videos, and I'm telling you these things, and I'm actually practicing them as I go, but you want to talk to that little dot camera lens on your phone, and imagine that there's one person there that you really care about and you want to help them the most you can. Just be transparent with them. It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks, because honestly, when you're talking to them, everyone else just kind of fades out of the way, and you know in your head you're talking to one person, and your passion comes across, and that's how you get to the point where you can do amazing videos. There's another tip I believe that we can tell them. Do you remember what that was?
Was it called looping?
Yes, it's called looping, and exactly what we did today. And we told you we're going to talk about relationships, and at the end of the video, we had an open loop. If you want to find out about how to do better videos, we're going to tell you at the end of the video. And this is what we just did.
And you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah. This is kind of one of our longer videos, but it's well worth it. And if this helped you at all, go ahead and like the video, share it, whatever you're doing. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, or any other social media, go ahead and share it to your social influence. And we would appreciate it. And, if you ever wanted the favor back, we will be more than happy to do that for you. There is more than enough success and abundance in this world for everyone, every single person, and yet there's only maybe half, at best, that's going to take advantage of it. So how much more abundance is there for people? Well, there we go. And that's something that I've kind of struggled with a little bit, is how much more is there for us to have? And, God says we're supposed to have enough, more than enough. Our cup runs over.
Exceedingly abundantly, more than we can ask or think.
Yes, so that we can help other people. And so, that kind of concludes all of our thoughts for today. And I encourage you, one more time, go ahead and click on any links that are down below. There will be a link down there. And if you found this valuable, share it with your social influence. We love you guys, and we will definitely see you in the next video. All right?
Bye-bye.